Hey guys, 118 Clover here, and I'm doing my review today on the Coast LX311. So this is going to be my first knife review, and I chose this knife, well, I'll talk about that in a second. I wanted to do something original for this review, so you'll see that at the end, but I'm going to talk about why I chose this knife to review. This is a cheap knife. This is like $10, and I kind of wanted to basically introduce you to a brand that hardly anyone talks about. Now, I've watched one review on YouTube of this knife, and that's all I've seen. And but We All Juggle Knives actually did a review on a Coast knife, and actually I think Coast is a pretty good company, and I'm going to show you that at the end of the review, or at least I think it is. I think it's, or at least I have a little bit of confidence in it after buying this. I didn't even know about them until I bought this. And this is actually, surprisingly, one of the first knives I started to EDC, or, I started to carry on me a lot. Has a pocket clip. Before that, I had, this is my first knife, but it's the first knife I actually started to use daily. So I just kind of wanted to see how it would hold up to the abuse because it's such a cheap knife. And it's actually pretty awesome. So, yeah, Coast. Like I said, this is called the LX311. It's a pretty catchy name, right? So, let's get into the specs. As you can see, it's a liner lock, which basically means that one of the liners, as you can see here, it actually does have stainless steel liners, basically comes out and stops the blade from closing. So press that in. It's actually got a pretty smooth action. But as you can see, or if you can hear, there's actually a little squeaky sound when you close the blade. So, yeah, this was $10 though, so I kind of just wanted to show you what all it can do. And that it's not to be, overlooked. So getting into the stats, this thing has according to Coast's website, has a 7CR 17 MOV stainless steel blade, which I'm assuming is close to 8CR 13 MOV blade, which is what Spyderco uses in their Tenacious line, or their China line. It's got a 3.25 inch blade, or 8.25 centimeters, 7.3 inches overall, or 18.5 centimeters overall, 2.2 ounces, so it's pretty light, or 6.24 grams, or actually 62.4 grams. It's kind of a wide knife, but it doesn't really bother me in my pocket that much because it's also really light, and I prefer a wide knife in my hand. It gives a better grip. It says that it's got, they call it a checker fiberglass filled nylon handles, which is basically like FRN that Spyderco uses. It's really grippy. There's no way you're not gonna lose your grip on this. It's kind of almost like Cold Steel G10 in the sense that it could be almost painful if you keep rubbing your thumb across it. Try to get a close-up of that. And it's got a deep carry pocket clip. The holes on it look kind of, I don't like that aesthetically, but I do like deep carry pocket clips. Let me show you real fast what that'll look like in the pocket. So this is what it'll look like when it's in your pocket. So it hides pretty deep, and because it's got a bead blasted finish on it, it doesn't reflect light, so it's really not like a lot of people are going to see it instantly. So I actually do overall like the pocket clip. Now about the blade, like I said, it's made of 7CR 17 MOV, which is basically like 8CR 13 MOV, which is also like AUS 8. So it's able to get really sharp, but it doesn't hold its edge for very long. You're going to be able to you're going to need to resharpen it a lot more often than, say, VG10. So right now, it's at least I got it paper cutting sharp. So we're basically going to see how well this blade holds up. I'm going to go put it through some tests and see if it's still paper cutting sharp by the end. And like I said, it's got a bead blasted finish, which basically means it's kind of got like almost like a matte finish. It doesn't reflect light. I actually really like how that looks. You can see it's got some scratches on it. When it gets scratches, it helps a lot. And it doesn't look as bad as if it, say, it had like a satin finish. Yeah, I actually really like the bead blasted finish. God, it's kind of dirty, isn't it? Probably should clean that out. But, yeah. It's pretty addictable when you're just, or addicting. Addictable, is that even a word? When you're just flicking it back and forth. Like I said, you can you either just flick it out and it comes out smoothly. You can roll it out if you want to be more discreet about it. By the way, the pocket clip is not reversible, so it's always stuck on tip down, which that doesn't really, I don't really mind that because I actually like tip down. I am actually left-handed, but I deploy my knives with my right hand and use them with my right hand. I pretty much do everything with my right hand actually, except like write and draw. So that's not really a problem for me. Also, it's a full flow-through construction, which basically means, you know, there's no backspacer right here, so you're not going to have to clean it out as often, or if at all. You can see the little pillars right there. And screwed together, so you could probably just take it apart if you wanted to. By the way, the blade has got enough retention to where you can't gravity shake it. It's just not coming out. So that might be a good thing or a bad thing. I don't really mind because it comes out really easily. So yeah, that's something to take into consideration. But it's a $10 knife. I'm not really trying to sell you on this knife. I'm just kind of trying to prove that, you know, cheap knives don't always mean weak or cheaply made. This thing is pretty much indestructible. So one more thing I forgot to talk about is the handle, or mainly the grip. It's got finger grooves in it, as you can see, and usually I don't like finger grooves. I don't think they look good, and also my fingers never really fall perfectly into place. But on this case, they do, and actually it's got a pretty comfortable grip. So real fast, I'm going to show you some knife comparisons. Here's the Coast LX311 next to an SE Zancudo, which I'll probably do a review on that soon. As you can see, it's about the exact same size. And here it is next to a knife that a lot of people probably have, the Buck 110 folder. You can see the Buck 110 is a lot bigger. So it's in the exact range of knife sizes that I like around 3-inch blades and kind of small. So real fast, I'd like to talk about some knife channels and knife reviewers that I've actually learned a lot from and watched their reviews. The first one is Prepared Mind 101. As far as fixed blades and outdoor survival type videos, you're gonna get a lot of information from him. I think his videos are really entertaining because he's so sarcastic most of the time and he names his knives, and you'll grow to like his videos a lot. And I actually heard on one of his recent videos, he says he like hates people that puts the knives through tests that they don't think they should, that they're not made for. I think he was talking about the Schrade Bowie knife and, like, you know, stabbing the tip in and then bending it and risk breaking the tip. You know, it's not meant to do that anyway, so why would you do it? So I thought it'd actually kind of go against his word and put this knife through something that it just shouldn't go through. And yeah, so a shout out to him. I also watch a lot of The Late Boy Scout. He has a bunch of great knife reviews, so go check out his channel. And Cutlery Lover has a bunch of informative knife videos too. So without further ado, let's go cut some things, and I'm going to be putting this Coast LX311 through the completely unnecessary torture test. Okay, so after all of that, how does the blade look? I don't know if you can see that, but doesn't appear to have any chips in it. There's definitely some scratches on the blade, and I know it's really dull now. I know those cans that I cut up definitely dulled the edge. Alright, you can see how sharp it is. I got another piece of paper right here. Now this isn't the same type of paper I used before. It's actually a little bit thicker, but it should be alright. It wasn't that bad, actually. Kind of struggled through it. It's not a perfectly clean cut. Alright, just to be fair, I've got some of the paper that I used first. See how it cuts. Wow, that actually went through pretty easily. Okay, I'm pretty surprised at that. Apparently this paper is a lot easier to cut than the other one. Okay, now it's starting to dull. Oh, I guess it's just how Also, guys, there is no blade play in the blade. You can see side to side or up and down. So yeah. So the Coast LX311 is a great cheap knife that stands up to a lot of abuse and stays pretty sharp throughout all the abuse. You'll put it through in a day's work, and what I put it through today is probably going to be a lot more exaggerated than what you'd normally put it through in just one day. Which I usually sharpen my knives like every couple of times I use them anyway. So I don't really mind steels that get dull fast because I always sharpen my knives kind of compulsively. Oh, and by the way, I didn't tell you that it has a saber ground blade, which obviously you should be able to tell. Actually, that might be a hollow ground. I don't know. I can't really tell. Okay, I think it's a saber grind though. So I think it's a great knife for the money. Like I said, it's a great beater knife if you want something you don't have to care about losing or care about messing up. This is a great knife to get. I don't know if you can still get it. I know you can get one. I saw one on Amazon. It's not called the LX311, but it's the exact same knife except it's got a black coated blade. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and let me know in the comments what was your first pocket knife. Mine actually was a crappy Gerber lockback that I don't have anymore because it broke in half. Yeah, that's the first one I remember getting. Also, let me know in the comments what you want to see next. I'll probably do a review on the SE Zancudo, but I'm thinking actually maybe a fixed blade. So, I don't know about that. I definitely have a bunch of stuff in mind that I'll put my BK9 through, test-wise. I don't know if I'm not going to do this test on any of my nicer knives just because they don't really have to prove anything. I felt like I needed to prove this knife just because of how cheap it is. And yeah, as you can see, I'm just flicking it back and forth. It's really smooth. You can just hold the liner down and it just kind of comes down. So overall, really smooth knife. Yeah, I really recommend you get one. Alright, bye guys. Hey guys, 118 Away Clover here. Today I'm going to do, like I said, I'm about to go put it some, one thing I also,